Hi, Jeff. How are you?
There we are. Hey, gentlemen. How are you doing? Jeff in Las
Good.
Vegas. How's Sydney?
It's a bit cold and rainy
Cold and
today,
rainy.
actually.
Yeah.
Could you send that up here? We're at 117 today.
Oh,
my
wow.
Well, the entire week we've had a heat wave going on here. So that sounds wonderful down there.
I read in my news feed that Death Valley had 130
That's
with,
about 2 hours from here. Yes.
with people taking selfies with the temperature sign behind them, right?
That's dangerous. They shouldn't be out there. That's crazy.
Exactly right. Terrible.
Well, Rob, Warwick, thank you so much for joining me today to talk about Blind Ambition. I love this film. What a wonderful film. So congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
When did their story catch your attention?
Yeah, so this is going back a few years, and we have a very close friend who lives in London. She's the wine writer for the Financial Times. World of wine, she is, one of the most well-known wine writers. Her name's Jancis Robinson, and she's actually in the film. She's the one that starts the crowdfunding page for the guys. And she, because she'd been part of my previous film, Red Obsession, she knew we were looking for a story, and so she contacted us and said, you guys have just got to talk to these 4 Zimbabwean guys in South Africa. Their story is incredible. So Rob and I teed the guys up on a Skype call and spoke with them for about an hour or so, and we, just totally fell in love with their story. So yeah, that's how it happened.
That's amazing. And Rob, this is an immigration story as well. Their journey to a better life and acceptance.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a story about 4 people who, in a world where human displacement is at its highest right now, in the last more so now than in the last 7 decades. So it's very relevant. But what we guys were forced to leave because of the deprivations that were being experienced in Zimbabwe. And it was their search for a better life. So absolutely a refugee story. The 4 guys acknowledged that they're all economic refugees, and through relentless optimism, determination, they managed to absolutely achieve a much better life in South Africa.
Yeah, even without the wine tasting competition aspect of the story, they're all successful. They're all sommeliers. They all made it. They did it.
I mean, these guys have a grit and determination, and we do think it's born from their hardships. Joseph in particular and his wife Amelia almost died getting over the border, trapped in a container which ran out of air. And I think, for these guys, having been through something like that, you just make the best of your life from that point forward. Absolute determination to succeed. Joseph, being the captain of the team, pulled these guys together and instilled in them the belief that they could win. And of course, you need that if you're going to compete at the highest level. Of course, they didn't end up winning. There was very little chance of that. But the belief in themselves and the belief in their country, despite everything that had happened and how badly they and their families had been treated by the Mugabe regime, they still, tied to their country, umbilically tied, and wave that flag proudly. So yeah, determination, very strong determination.
And when it comes to the wine tasting competition, the Olympics of wine tasting in Paris, I had no idea something like that existed. 12 bottles of red, 12 of white. And it's not about drinking the wine. It's about the structure and the origin of the wine. So I learned so much from this documentary, not only about facing adversity and immigration and a success story, but how to taste wine. I was totally in the dark with this.
It was our competition. We actually hadn't heard of it, yet it's quite well known within the sommelier industry and the wine industry that France hosts this international wine competition each year. And when we heard about it, it was the most bizarre structure to be able to be given 12 wines complete. And what we realized, we do have, because of our last documentary, Red Obsession, we have knowledge with the wine industry. Warwick is a vigneron as well and has his own vineyard down in the Mornington Peninsula here in Australia. So there was a base level of knowledge of wine. But for me, what I found most fascinating is that you are given something completely blank through, as you said, through structure, through tannins, through acidity, through taste, through the color. All of these elements you have to pull together. And we actually had a master of wine, Andrew Kayard, who's also an associate producer on the project. He describes it like a mathematical equation. And it really is going through all these different aspects and trying to work out the computations that get you close to the source of the wine. And what is an interesting factor is that this isn't an individual sport, it's a team sport. And so we had these guys who are training and practicing, not just to hone their own skills, but to realize if they can trust each other. And that trust and that level of doubt was something that was really fascinating to firsthand and explore in the documentary.
Did you need permission to shoot the competition? Was there a lot of red tape, or did they welcome you with open arms?
Yeah, we certainly needed permission because you're concerned and they're concerned as well that you might upset the rest of the competitors in there. We had 9 or 10 cameras run, people moving across the floor. We had fixed cameras. We had cameras that were handheld and on tripods, and so people were a little concerned. But because they knew this would bring attention to not just their competition, but this great disparity in the wine world between white and black, the traditional and conservative world of wine, which for hundreds, if not thousands of years, has been basically impenetrable for people of color, people other than white people. So you have that very conservative cartel of countries. You got France and Spain and Germany and the UK, or latterly Australia and the US, of course. But that concept of for Zimbabweans, I mean, the audacity of 4 Zimbabweans to try and enter this world of wine and to pretend they can taste wine like everybody else has, the people who come from countries that have a deep culture of wine. It was the audaciousness, I think, but there was welcoming aspect to the competition. So when the Zimbabwean guys arrived, they were actually applauded, and they sang their song for Jancis the night before, completely unprompted. They just leapt up out of their seats and started singing this kind of tribal Zimbabwean song, which really won the hearts of everybody in that room. Yeah, we needed permission, but we were also welcomed.
I'm sure you've heard your films compared to Cool Runnings, the Jamaican bobsled team. That's what I kept thinking of.
Yeah, there are definitely similarities with the idea of outsiders going there. We can definitely see the analogy, but some interesting differences as well that we like to draw upon.
Well, what a wonderful documentary, such an uplifting, inspiring film. Thank you both for joining me today, and good luck at Tribeca. And we'll talk again soon. Thank you.
Thanks
very much, Jeff.
Thanks very much. Good chatting.